Hey everyone, I want to start today's video with a confession. I almost did not make this video. Not because I did not think the story was worth telling, but because I was genuinely not sure I had the right words to do it justice. I have been sitting with the details of the 2026 Buick Century for 3 weeks now. I have been looking at images. I have been reading everything the enthusiast community has been sharing in private. I have spoken to people who have been inside this car. And every single time I sat down to write this script, I stopped because the car kept stopping me. The 2026 Buick Century in metallic deep red, with warm ivory leather interior, is the kind of automobile that makes the act of describing it feel inadequate. But I am going to try, and I am going to tell you something at the very end of this video that nobody in the automotive press has reported yet. Something that changes the entire urgency of this story. So stay with me, because the next 8 minutes might be the most important 8 minutes you spend in a car community this entire year. Let me tell you about 1977. Because to understand why the return of the Buick Century in 2026 matters so deeply to so many people, you need to understand what the 1977 Century was in the context of its era. The late 1970s were a complicated and difficult time for American automobile manufacturers. Fuel crises, emissions regulations, downsizing programs, every major American brand was under pressure to compromise and reduce and simplify. And most of them did exactly that, in ways that disappointed their most loyal customers profoundly. But Buick, in the middle of all of that pressure and all of that difficulty, produced the 1977 Century. And the 1977 Century was something completely unexpected. It was refined. It was elegantly proportioned. It had this wonderful sense of restrained American luxury that felt neither excessive nor diminished, just perfectly calibrated for a buyer who wanted quality and style without ostentation. It was the right car at exactly the right moment, and it was so completely right that people who owned one in 1977 still talk about it today with a warmth and a loyalty that the passing of nearly 50 years has done absolutely nothing to diminish. And in 2026, Buick is bringing it back in metallic deep red, with warm ivory leather inside. And what they have built is something that I believe completely and passionately is the most perfectly calibrated American luxury car since the original. The reaction from the automotive community to this announcement has been extraordinary in ways that are unusual even for a significant nameplate revival. The people who have responded most passionately are not just classic car collectors or Buick enthusiasts, although both of those communities have been vocal and emotional in their reactions. The people who have responded most intensely are people who remember the original 1977 Century personally. People in their 60s and 70s who drove one or rode in one as children and who have been carrying the memory of that car for nearly 5 decades. When a car revival triggers that kind of deeply personal, deeply emotional response from people who are remembering something real and something precious from their own life story, that is a level of social proof that no marketing campaign could ever manufacture. Buick has touched something genuinely important with this revival. And the 2026 Century in metallic deep red is going to make a very large number of people feel something very real and very significant the first time they see it. So let us walk around this car, because the exterior of the 2026 Buick Century in metallic deep red is where this story begins, and where it makes its most immediate and most powerful impression. The body is long and beautifully proportioned in that classic American luxury tradition, a proper full-size sedan that wears its dimensions with complete confidence and complete elegance. The proportions reference the 1977 Century directly and lovingly: that long hood, that formal roofline, that well-balanced rear with its generous trunk. But everything has been resolved and refined in a way that feels completely appropriate and completely powerful for 2026. And in metallic deep red, a finish of extraordinary depth and richness. The shifts between burgundy and crimson and deep wine depending on the light and the angle. This body is simply one of the most visually compelling things in the American automotive world right now. Metallic deep red is not a color that many manufacturers have the courage to offer on a full-size luxury sedan in 2026. Most brands play it safe with silvers and whites and blacks. Buick has made a statement with this finish that tells you immediately and clearly that the 2026 Century is not a car for people who want to be invisible. It is a car for people who understand that genuine style requires genuine commitment. And in this finish, over this body, the commitment pays off in a way that stops people on sidewalks and in parking lots and makes them take photographs before they even consciously decide to do so. The front end of the 2026 Buick Century is confident and classically American in the most satisfying way imaginable. The waterfall grille, Buick's most celebrated and most distinctive design signature, sits proud at the center of the front fascia in a form that is directly connected to the 1977 Century's grille. Treatment while feeling completely current and completely right for the modern era. Chrome surrounds the grille with genuine generosity. This is not the apologetic application of brightwork that some modern luxury brands offer as a nod to heritage. This is chrome used with the confidence and the commitment that American luxury cars always used it as a genuine design element, not a decoration. The headlights flank the grille in elegant, precisely detailed housings that give the front of this car a dignified and distinguished expression. In metallic deep red, the front of the 2026 Century approaching you is one of the most genuinely distinguished automotive sights of 2026. It does not demand attention aggressively. It commands it quietly, and that distinction is everything. Down the sides of the car, the body is long and clean with character lines that reference the 1977 Century's body side treatment in ways that are immediately readable to anyone who knows the original, while feeling completely modern in their execution. The line that runs from the front wheel arch through the door and into the rear quarter gives the flanks of the car this wonderful sense of forward motion and purpose without ever disrupting the essential elegance of the overall form. The greenhouse is properly sized large windows in the classic American luxury tradition that give the car an airy and open quality from both inside and outside. The chrome window surround trim runs clean and precise along the glass line, and in metallic deep red, the full side profile of the 2026 Century is one of those automotive views that rewards extended looking, more satisfying the longer you study it, more beautiful the more angles you find. The rear of the 2026 Buick Century in metallic deep red is where the car delivers its most classically American and most completely satisfying visual conclusion. The taillights are wide and horizontal, spanning the full width of the trunk lid in a treatment that is deeply connected to the 1977 Century's rear lamp design, while feeling completely resolved for 2026. The trunk line is long and graceful. The rear bumper is substantial and properly chrome detailed in the classic American tradition. The Buick script lettering sits centered on the trunk lid, with the same quiet confidence that characterized every Buick of the great era. And the overall impression from behind in metallic deep red is of a car that is just as beautiful and just as dignified driving away as it is arriving. Under any light-conditioned morning sun, afternoon shade, the glow of street lighting at night, the rear of this car in metallic deep red is something that makes you stop and look and feel something genuine. And that is the mark of design that matters. Now let us step inside, and this is where I need to tell you why I chose warm ivory leather for this car. Because the choice of warm ivory leather inside a metallic deep red exterior is not simply an aesthetic decision. It is a design philosophy decision. It is a statement about what American luxury has always been at its absolute greatest: warm and welcoming and completely enveloping, like walking into a beautifully appointed room that was designed specifically around your comfort and your sense of occasion. The moment you open that door, and it opens with this solid, perfectly weighted, genuinely satisfying motion and settle into the front seat, you are surrounded by warm ivory leather of extraordinary quality that fills the entire cabin with warmth and light and an immediate, unmistakable sense of genuine luxury. Against the metallic deep red exterior visible through those large, beautiful windows, the contrast is simply spectacular, warm and rich and sophisticated in a way that makes every other luxury car interior you have recently experienced feel somehow cooler and somehow less welcoming by comparison. The seats are wide and deeply cushioned in the great American luxury tradition. The kind of seats that the 1977 Century was celebrated for and that Buick has brought back in the 2026 model with complete fidelity to the original philosophy. Wide enough to sit in comfortably for hours, soft enough to feel genuinely luxurious from the first moment, supportive enough that longer journeys never become tiring. The warm ivory leather covers every seat surface, every door panel, every padded dashboard element with a consistency and a quality that gives the entire interior this wonderful sense of completeness. The contrast, stitching a deep burgundy thread on warm ivory leather that ties the interior palette directly to the metallic deep red exterior, is precise and beautifully executed, adding craftsmanship detail at every point without ever becoming visually busy. The dashboard is a wide, horizontal, beautifully resolved piece that draws direct inspiration from the 1977 Century's interior architecture. A padded top rail in warm ivory leather above a clean, organized instrument panel with round gauges housed in a classic Buick binnacle directly ahead of the driver. The wood veneer inserts a warm walnut tone that works perfectly with the warm ivory leather throughout, run along the dashboard face and door panel caps in generous, well-proportioned applications. Chrome accents on the instrument's surrounds, the door handles, the window controls, present in beautiful and completely period correct, without ever feeling excessive. The steering wheel is a classic three-spoke design in chrome and warm ivory leather that feels absolutely right in your hands and looks absolutely right in the context of this interior. The rear seat of the 2026 Century is where the car makes its most complete and most characteristically Buick statement. Wide and deeply cushioned with that same warm ivory leather throughout, genuinely generous legroom, and that classic American luxury feeling of being completely cocooned in comfort regardless of road conditions or journey length. This is a rear seat that adults can occupy for hours without discomfort. A rear seat that makes the car as pleasant to be driven in as it is to drive. And in warm ivory leather, with metallic deep red visible through those large rear windows, it is a rear seat environment of genuine beauty. The powertrain expected for the 2026 Buick Century is a naturally aspirated 3.6-liter V6 producing approximately 310 to 335 horsepower, smooth, refined, and perfectly matched to the relaxed grand touring character of this car. The exhaust note is expected to be present and sonorous without ever being intrusive, exactly what a Buick powertrain should sound like, and exactly what Buick powertrain engineers have always understood better than almost anyone in the American industry. The suspension is tuned for ride quality above everything else, genuinely smooth and genuinely composed over any road surface, isolating occupants from imperfections in a way that the 1977 Century was always celebrated for, and that the 2026 model is expected to deliver with even greater competence and even greater consistency. Pricing for the 2026 Buick Century is expected to start between $52,000 and $62,000 for the base configuration, extraordinarily compelling value for a full-size American luxury sedan of this quality, this heritage, and this level of material excellence. Fully specified examples in metallic deep red, with the complete warm ivory leather interior and the top specification trim level, are expected to approach $82,000 to $88,000. Production for the first year is expected to be intentionally limited. Buick wants the 2026 Century to carry the weight of genuine exclusivity that this nameplate deserves. An early allocation of the metallic deep red specification is already generating more interest from dealers and reservation holders than Buick anticipated at this stage of the launch process. Deliveries are expected to begin in the first half of 2026 and continue through 2027. The people who are already in Buick collector communities and American luxury car enthusiast circles are already having the reservation conversation with dealers. The metallic deep red with warm ivory interior is the specification that everyone who has seen it is requesting first. And first allocations of the most desirable specifications always move faster than anyone expects. The window to secure exactly this car and exactly this combination is open right now, but it will not stay open indefinitely. And the people who know that are already moving. The Buick Century is back, metallic deep red and magnificent outside, warm ivory leather and completely extraordinary inside, smooth and refined and perfectly composed on every road. This is American luxury done with the confidence, the commitment, and the genuine warmth that made Buick one of the greatest automotive brands this country has ever produced. The 2026 Century is not just a revival, it is a reminder of what American luxury was at its very best, and what it can be again when a brand has the courage to honor its own greatest heritage without compromise or apology. Do not be the person who watched this video and then waited. Drop everything in the comments right now. I read every single one, and this community is one of the most passionate and most knowledgeable on this entire platform. Give this video a thumbs up if it moved you, because it helps the channel grow more than you know. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a single video as we follow the 2026 Buick Century all the way to launch day and beyond. I will see you in the next one, everybody.